water station.
The courtroom belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to the judge, doesn't belong to the lawyers, does not belong to any individual, but is an entity which belongs to the people.
Hello, my name is Attorney Deborah Geraldine Bledsoe Ford. That was my mother, the Honorable Geraldine Bledsoe Ford. She and my grandfather, Attorney Harold Bledsoe, taught me that the courtroom belongs to the people. When I am judge, the courtroom will belong to the people. I am asking you to vote for me, Attorney Deborah Geraldine Bledsoe Ford, for judge of 36th District Court. A vote for me will ensure that the courtroom belongs to the people and everyone will get a fair chance. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm your host, Hassan Aline.
Co-host Kyle Williams.
And this is Apartheid, Michigan. Apartheid, Detroit. Flint, Inkster, Benton Harbor, Pontiac. Apartheid. Wow. Apartheid, Michigan. Let's see who this is first thing in the morning. Hello, you're on the air.
Good morning, brothers.
Good morning. What's going on?
Man, like y'all, I'm so sick and tired of this mass media, public relations, Koch brothers, Snyder, Dugan, corporate America crap that they pushing on the masses who, unfortunately, are the asses. They're so stupid. You know, they've been programmed like that from birth. You know, they calling this a bailout to save the Detroit public schools when they are the ones that destroyed it, brothers. The narrative is, they keep pushing that narrative, and, you know, our so-called leaders, community leaders and Democrats or whatever, they don't know how to play drums. They don't know how to push back on that lie. You know what I'm saying? A bailout? They the one destroyed our schools. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's pushing back on that to the degree where the public is catching on. Now they got the woman in Flint, they don't found somebody to make Snyder's PR machine look like it's working. You know, they're going to say she did something wrong, which is all in the mix to diffuse Snyder and his murderous acts in Flint and in Detroit and all of this. You know what I'm saying? You see the little tricks they play? First, they put a couple principals and indict them for some school supplies, you know, pushing that narrative, oh, y'all don't know what y'all doing. We have to come in and save y'all. When they got away with putting Kwame Kilpatrick in prison, they said, oh, the floodgates is open now. We can do anything to these Detroit black communities in Michigan, and they're doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Where is it? Why is this narrative succeeding, brothers? Why? They destroyed us. We were a pretty good, functioning black large community. They came in and destroyed us. Now they're saying, oh, y'all don't know what y'all doing. We had to come and rescue y'all. Now they're calling this thing a bailout for Detroit public schools. What they're doing is using Detroit as a template for the rest of the country to destroy public education and give it to for-profit institutions, people to make money on so-called educating our children. It's for profit now, and that's what they're doing in Detroit. So all these leaders and whatever they call themselves doing, y'all don't know how to play drums. And the result is our children who ain't born yet gonna come into a real screwed up situation. I had to get that out, bro.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate for getting it off here. Well, he's right about that public education, folks. They have a bill in there, and they're talking about how they're going to help the Detroit public school system. But let's look at it. Any law that's passed in this session, meaning the session ends December the 31st, won't take effect until 90 days after the legislative session. So after the legislators convene or disband, go home, and that particular session of the legislature is over for 2016, the laws of this budget that has been passed will not take effect until March. Wow.
You know, the caller asked a question, and he said, why does this narrative continue to go on? Because we continue to repeat it. We need to stop talking about what they saying and put our own narrative out there.
Well, they owe us the money. They owe us billions of dollars. And, you know, we have state legislatures that are hiding behind the women. I call them panty weights. You know, you got boxers that are heavyweight boxers and middleweight, but these are panty weight. They under the lightweight. They hide behind women. What do you mean they hide behind the women? You don't hear them saying anything. You don't hear them saying anything. You heard a Detroit City Councilwoman, Joanne Watson, say the state owe us $600 million.
Yeah, she's been saying that for the longest.
What she saying it?
Yeah.
Okay, what have they said? What have they said? The state owe us billions of dollars. And look, did they come up with a figure close to the $600 million that former Councilwoman Joanne Watson had put out there? She said they owe the city of Detroit, not the school board.
That's an additional to what she was talking about.
But they owe the school board billions of dollars. The Haley Amendment. The Michigan Constitution says that the state can put any program in place, but they have to pay for the program. Oops. They have to pay for the program. They can't take Detroit public schools and shut them down and don't maintain the schools. They can't let the school building stay unsupervised. No security guards. Herman Keeper Hospital, they got guards. Go over there off of the Lodge Freeway and clear them out. Come up on the Lodge exit. If you're coming from the other side, if you're coming from the north end of the city, come up on the Chicago exit, and stay on the service drive till you get to Herman Keeper. You know where it's at, where you had to go get your birth certificate, where you had to go get your food handlers cards and your free shots for the kids and your WIC, all that stuff. That was city-owned. They have security guards 24/7. 24/7. They broke out a window where you could see a window. Somebody got in through a basement window. They fired the whole company. That's been a couple years ago. No more incidents. So they got security at the schools. The state took over under the emergency manager. The emergency manager appointed these principals. The principals that were next in line by seniority, they said, oh, we're not going by seniority. I can do what I want to do. And I don't think y'all have the right attitude. So these were the emergency manager's principles that were put in. They won't say that.
And stealing.
And so the emergency manager allowed them to steal. What was that woman's name? A Bird? somebody,
Burst.
Bird, yeah, Bird, that went to Chicago. She was here, got the book deal that gave him $20 million, the book company $20 million for books that were never read, never even delivered. The FBI didn't see that. They didn't see nothing Robert Bob has done yet. And they're not talking about her. She got indicted when she got to Chicago and go try that silly stuff over there. So since she didn't know anybody, they got her. Now they turn around because it's so convenient. The Republicans, the Michigan hillbillies in the Republican Party up in Lansing are saying, well, what we're going to do for Detroit is, and they're not able to control themselves, able to rule themselves. Give me a break. They're stealing money every year in the suburban school districts, and when they find out about it, what do? Yeah, they give them some jail time, pat them on the wrist. They're not talking about taking over the whole district out there in the suburbs. Which one was that? I'm trying to think of the school district. Somebody call in and tell me about which school district that they found the lady embezzling money. They do it all the time. Coaches embezzle money. Somebody's always embezzling money in the suburban school district and the suburban churches, Catholic churches all over the place. And they come in and say, well, the priest's been a good guy and we ought to give him less money. What did they embezzle? What did he embezzle? $11 million or something? I'm trying to think who embezzled the $11 million and they only gave him a year. And they got people to come in and say, well, he's a good guy. I don't think he should get all that time.
I remember the incident, but I can't think of the name of the person.
Right, we're going to have to start writing this stuff
You
down.
ain't kidding.
So that we can tell them. Getting back to the State Board of Education now, it said the State Superintendent of Public Education instructions. The State Board of Education shall appoint a superintendent of public instruction. All of this stuff is supposed to be done that they claim they want to do by the State Board of Education.
Says the
Says
Constitution.
the Michigan Constitution. The governor shall be ex officio a member of the State Board of Education without a right to vote. The governor can't vote. That's what article is it? Article 8. Article 8, Section 3 of the Michigan Constitution. Article 8 is the one on education. Look, it says non-public schools prohibited aid. So how are these charters getting in they non-public schools? Oh, we gave them a sign that they could pass for white.
Shoot, that ain't what the Constitution says.
Hey, they got to pass. And they want to make all the money they can, and nobody's reading the Constitution. Look, they owe us the money. They owe us billions of dollars, and they telling you, they said, we're broke. That's this governor, rogue. That's what he is, a rogue judge that they thought was so great in the bankruptcy. Now you see what they did to us in the bankruptcy, to the retirees. The man sits up there and lie. Oh, they going to run out of money? How they going to run out of money? And they got all the money that people have been collecting on the back property taxes since, what was it, January? February, they send you a notice for foreclosure, and you had to come in and pay your back property taxes, make up an agreement to start paying on your 12 and 13. Most of the 12, if you didn't went in the payment agreement, gone. That house is in the land bank somewhere. It's in the Treasury's auction right now. But the people are paying their monies. Every other school district in the state of Michigan gets a bridge loan, but the city of Detroit school district has run out of money. They won't give them a loan, evidently. And then, wait, they want to give the new district a $33 million loan, a bond. Well, you got to pay that money back. They're not giving us anything. So you start out in a deficit. Wow. You start out in a deficit. Nobody's saying that. If they don't, look, what's the woman's name? Goldell. Okay.
Go Dagno.
Anyway, if that was Sherry Gay, if she wants to complain about it, Brian Banks or anybody wants to complain about it, why don't they tell us? Why don't they come out and tell us, or is it they just say, well, we're going to say no, but we don't know what the bill is about because we haven't read the bill. Detroit, they're not giving us anything. They are loaning you some money. You're in a deficit. They're not going to talk to your school board. They want to elect the school board of their choice. How they going to tell you who's on the school board? How do these Klansmen say that? If they're not Ku Klux Klan mentality, then what are they? The Donald Trump mentality?
Same thing.
That he don't like immigrants and they don't like black folk. We gonna take over the Detroit public school because we know what's best for you. Wow. Wow, those are the votes. Those are Republican Party billionaires, Amway billionaires. That's the Amway company. And they're going to know what's best for you?
Yeah, they want to create a deficit for
going in.
And say that Detroit owes something because they have nothing to do with it. All this is the state.
The state of Michigan refused to give the city of Detroit, Flint, Benton Harbor, Pontiac, their revenue sharing money under the law. The law say they have to give. These are criminals.
It's unrestricted.
Then they gonna tell you you in a deficit because you got some fools on those city councils that didn't know the county procedure.
You can look it up. It's Public Act 140. I think it's 1970.
Is it Public Act 140?
Yeah, 140.
Of 1970.
I believe, yeah, 1970.
And that's the Revenue Sharing Act. It says the funds are unrestricted funds, meaning he can't say you didn't have best practices, you didn't come up to this level, therefore we holding your money. You know, we think you at the bottom 5% of the schools. All those are restrictions that he's putting on the money that the law say there's no restrictions on.
The statute itself says that.
Yeah, well, that's the law, right?
Yeah.
So these people up in the legislature don't know what they're talking about. And you need to tell some of them preachers like Reverend Wendell Anthony to stay in the church. Because he gets up there flapping his mouth. He said, oh, they gave us the finger. Well, how many fingers did you give us? And you was on the board going along with this baloney sitting up there with them all the time.
You
sat on the
nothing.
commission. He still don't say anything. He going to blame the state legislature, but he's in there with them. Oh, that's right. You shouldn't be so hard on him, Hassan, because he's got that church to protect. What do you mean protect? They're behind. They had that big mortgage payment. They paid all that money, over $100,000 a month note. Wow. And he knows about finance, right?
Man.
He got himself in a jam over there at the church, but he knows about finance, and they ain't been able to get out of it. Can churches declare bankruptcy?
Not that I know of.
Well, they got to pay the money then. If they can't get out of it, I don't know. That's a question. Let's take a call. Caller, you on the air.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was calling to commend you for coming in today during such a somber occasion, and I wanted you to know that we at Her Research and all of us give our condolences to you for the loss of your brother. And I wanted to let those who are tuned in know and confirm the viewing this afternoon and the funeral services for tomorrow. Can we let everybody know so that those can come out? We'll have all of the detailed information.
Right. The viewing is today, 4 to 8 o'clock at Pies Funeral Home on Plymouth, right there at Southfield. The funeral will be tomorrow, Wednesday.
4 p.m. today at Pies Funeral Home on Plymouth Road at Southfield.
Right. Southfield Freeway.
And then tomorrow is the family hour and the funeral. Also at Pies Funeral Home.
Pies Funeral Home.
At what time?
The family hour starts at 12, and the funeral hour is at 12:30.
Okay, so 12 noon tomorrow at
High
Pop
noon.
Funeral Home. All right. And I just wanted to extend our condolences for that, and we will be there to support you as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, you have my
Mhm.
condolences too.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, one thing for me to do is to stay busy through these times, and we appreciate the family, appreciate your prayers and condolences at this hour, and that later on they'll send out those cards. But we're going to move right along here on this education and the fact that they're trying to railroad a bill through, and nobody, if they spoke up, meaning the legislatures, even the members of the school board in hiding, if they, the Detroit school board in hiding, if the legislatures would open their mouths, there's a lot of them want another job. They think the white folks, Detroit Edison, somebody gonna give them a job. They're not giving them a job. Why would you give somebody a job that can't read? Tell me that don't know what's going on. Look, it's people. Let me give you an example. Ernest Johnson, Community Coalition. Ernest Johnson. He had a job with Ficano. How long he stay over there? About 8 years or something.
Yeah, something
He
like
was
that.
there with Robert Ficano because it was a community organizer. He was out in the community. He could get people out. He got people to file petitions. When Don Barton was filed a petition to put the casino on the ballot, he was part of the recall of Dennis Archer. So he's a community organizer. He's able to get people out of the streets. These people in the state legislature that we see, they're not organizing in the community. They're not able to get anybody out in the streets. Do they even come out to the McDonald meeting that they have? They meet at McDonald out of Redford somewhere instead of in the hood. Or they don't have two meetings, one for the folks out in that area and one for the folks in the city of Detroit. They can't go out there. Ain't that amazing? A state legislature would have a meeting. Trying to figure which one it was. And if I call the wrong name, then they'll get mad at me. They're always mad at me, but I'd rather be halfway right. But they have a meeting out in Redford Township. At that McDonald's, I guess that's 5 Mile and Telegraph. Now, how do you go out there and your tags is bad or you don't have your proper insurance? Those state reps are disingenuous, not for them to only meet out there and not in Hamtramck or Detroit or Highland Park. They playing a little game and then they want to say, well, I have a meeting at McDonald's and nobody comes. They don't say it's out in Redford where they check everybody in the parking lot. You ever go out to Livonia? The police be riding around taking people's license plates, especially out there was a Technicolor, right out there on across from the bowling alley. If you go out the freeway, and right behind that Myers, that's a place for employment, and they ride through the parking lot. And then they pull people's car off of private property, and that's illegal. But
Wait a
that's a
minute, hold,
Livonia,
hold.
huh?
You say they pull people's cars off the
Private
private
property.
property?
Sure do.
Nobody's in, and they just
They just hauled it off, looked at the plate, and I guess the owner of the car had some back tickets. It could say suspended license, whatever. They towed that car off. What is that? If they had a suspended license, what did they have to do with the car? Nothing. If they owed some parking tickets, what did that have to do with the car? Nothing. He towed it off. Now, I've seen that. What did you think I was going to do? Jump out? Halt. What are you doing that for, officer? Or do you I just documented it.
I'm just saying that the people
Oh, they
have a
do that,
legitimate.
man. They come back, they don't have a car. They're supposed to wait out on the street and ticket them. They don't care. What do they care?
They should be having some hefty suits in
Sue who?
the state.
You know what? Look. A friend of mine's son Go and look for a job. You don't have a driver's license. I said, why don't you get your driver's license, man? I owe a ticket. He said, they say I owe a ticket. I said, how do you owe a ticket for driving? Oh, they gave you a ticket for driving and you didn't have a license? He said, no, it ain't my ticket. It ain't your ticket. It's not your ticket. Yeah, it ain't my ticket. I say, well,
How did that happen?
how did that happen? He said, well, he think his brother used his name. Okay, but it ain't you. All right. How old is the ticket? I said, well, when did you get it? He said, well, that ticket is back in 208. 208? A 209. I said, man, that ticket is about 8 years old. It's a 16, 8 and 8 is 16. I say the ticket is 8 years old. They have a statute of limitations. It's dropped after the felony ticket warrant or ticket is dropped after 3 years, or since they say the collecting the money could go to 5 years. This is 8 years. I say I said no, you can't go down there. You have to write them a letter. Tell them they're violating the statute of limitations. It's past the statute of limitations. You want ticket dismissed. That's the law, isn't it, Carl?
Yep.
It's a statute of limitations. Now, you may say, oh, that don't matter. That don't mean nothing. It ain't no such thing. Yes, it is a statute of limitations. And I'll say this is apartheid Michigan, and it don't apply to us because we don't know about it. We won't even enforce it. And when he goes down to 36th District Court, them Negroes on the bench gonna tell him, no, you got to come in. You got to pay this fine. And they're lying. It's a statute of limitations. I mean, when people tell me, they say, oh, they got into trouble over something, I say, really? And what do you think I should do, Hassan? I say, I think you should leave the crowd you in alone. I think you should go to church somewhere and stay off of Mac or Dexter or Fink or wherever you hanging out, and then people can recognize you. And if you have any relatives down south, why don't you get on the bus and go down there? Since you haven't killed anybody, you didn't commit no murder, did you? No. I said, well, okay, that ticket will be dismissed because of the statute of limitations, and you don't get any more trouble if they don't catch you before then. I say change your life. Go to school. Go to church. Get with a different crowd. It's amazing. We got to speak up and tell them they're asking you every day. I mean, it ain't like they know I'm on television. Some of them do. Most of them don't. But they'll ask you because you're there. You're an older person. A young blood will say, sir, what do you think I should do? Because they in trouble. They don't know what to do. They conflicted. And that's what I read that in the paper. How did they catch this guy that they killed one of those musicians? It was in the paper the other day. I read it. Might have been last week. But it was saying his aunt turned him in because her nephew called her aunt and said, I did something wrong. This is how the paper read. I shot a guy. I killed somebody. And she sent him the text or the article out of the paper. So she turned him in. She did the right thing. That ain't like the and they say, wait a minute. And they say, we won't snitch on somebody. The police is half crazy. They the ones won't tell on their police officers. They had a no snitch code.
Yeah, they call it the blue code.
The blue code. I can't tell on the officer that I see committing a crime. Man, this is something else. And the young man, auntie, it's in the paper, read it for yourself, turn him in. That's why he's going to, that's why he has a trial coming up for murder. Carla, you on the air.
Good morning, Carl. Good morning, Hassan.
Good morning. How are you, Dee Dee?
Okay, you have you and your family have the condolences of my family.
Thank you.
And question: Can the Detroit public schools declare bankruptcy the way they did with the city of Detroit? Because the reason why I ask that, it seems as if they're doing the exact same thing that they did to us with roads. Number one, some type of criminal act. The the starts with a Z, the counselor for the pension board. Zajac?
Yes, Zajac.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right, that's right, Zajac.
Okay, I can hardly hear you guys. And also, they said the city of Detroit was going to run out of money. They're saying the DPS is running out of money. It's like the same game plan that they had for us.
Same thing Mayor Dave Bing used to say, oh, they're going to run out of money. They're going to run out of money. Well, look, the Treasury collects that money, and the new treasurer's there, a different treasurer's there, and the treasurer got to run for office. So Eric Sabree is the treasurer over in Wayne County. What do you think? He's not going to give the money that's by law? It's the school district money? Well, if he don't give him the money, he ought to write him a check like the former check what Tovis did. He wrote him a check. He gave them an advance. He gave the city of Detroit. He gave cities out in like Garden City, whichever city needed some money to keep them out of that emergency, that deficit for getting an emergency manager. He advanced them their monies that they were going to get on their property taxes. He gave them an advance. So all of this stuff that Rose doing, Rose is crooked. He's been a crooked judge all the time. All you've got to do is examine the lies that this man is telling us. We need help with 2 school districts. It's only 1 school district. All the rest of them have 1 school district. Well, how do we come up with 2? How do we come up with 2 school districts, separate and unequal, and the Supreme Court says it's against the law?
They also are trying to put down the charter schools so that they can bring their folks in with the charter schools, and also take the emergency managers and make them seem like they're the knights in shining armor coming in to save us. Okay? And you don't hear that much about emergency managers. It's just the principals. It's the charter schools. Is there something going on with Sharon McPhail School? I don't know.
Well, it seems like they're trying to get rid of it. They're going to take her charter. Whichever university gave her the charter, they want to take it from her. They tired of them. They say, well, they want it. As simple as that, isn't it? They want it.
I'm going to let other callers call in, but thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
When Sharon McPhail supposed to be an attorney?
She is an attorney. Sharon McPhail's an attorney, and she has that judge that they kicked off the bench, one of her friends out there, the judge out in Inkster. She works for the school. There's a couple people on there with law degrees, licensed attorneys.
Well, she need to put it into practice.
They need to. Where's that part of the Constitution that says that unions can have their own? They form unions. You know, the Constitution.
I don't know if it's in the Constitution, might be in the charter. I'm
the
not
PARA
sure.
Act. The PARA Act comes from a state law they call PARA, Public Employee Relation Act, and it comes.
That's a statute.
That's the statute, but the statute gets its power from the Michigan Constitution. See, they got quite a few of these different sections in here. We got to keep and write them down and outline them. But that's where they get it from. Now the legislature is stating these Republicans ain't them criminals and crooks, and really they don't have the education. They probably half of them high school dropouts or something. They talking about Michigan. And the Detroit folks won't call them out, won't speak up and say the word about it.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. Because under the Constitution, the unions, and that's in this Constitution, the 1963 Constitution. Before the 1963 Constitution, the one that exists today, unions did not have a right to you didn't have a right to have a public employee union. The police didn't have unions. ASME didn't exist. So maybe Al Garrett knows what statute that is in the Michigan Constitution that gives the unions the right to have a union. The employees, public employees, were not allowed to have unions until they put it in the Michigan Constitution in the 1963 Constitution. That's why we keep saying you have to get you a Constitution. They're free. They are absolutely free. So let's take a call while we look for some of this stuff. Caller, you on the air? Hello,
What's
caller.
up, Carl Hassan?
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, man, you was on point with that. They don't snitch on each other. You're doggone right. They're not going to snitch on each other. But here's the thing: if the governor is ignoring all these laws that you two guys are doing a great job of pointing out, that means everybody up in Lansing is ignoring them. You mean to tell me out of all those people in Lansing, none of those legislators came on the TV cameras and said, Governor, what you're doing here is wrong. It's against the law. We can't take that route. But they just totally abuse us. Like you said about the school system, how are you going to have two school systems? What they need to do is this $7,000 on count day, they need to give to the parents and let them homeschool them if they don't care about us. Why are you going to set an agenda or a curriculum for us that has nothing to do with us? You ever notice that they got a curriculum to make damn sure that a black child never knew where he come from or about his own ancestors? And thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for making it here. Caller, you on the air?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Just great.
I wanted to bring something up to everybody's attention yesterday. It caught my eye. Loretta Lynch, who is the Attorney General for the United States, announced that they were going to sue North Carolina over the bathroom law. I don't know if people are familiar with it, but the legislature in North Carolina passed a law that said that, in other words, if you're a transgender, you cannot go into the bathroom that you say that you are now the sex of. So I thought it was odd, though, that they took the initiative, meaning the Attorney General, to bring charges on this matter when we have been struggling here in Michigan with the Flint water crisis and then what's going on with the school system, and there has not been one peep out of her office to our defense, one way or the other. I just don't understand how. Well, I understand, but I want everybody to understand what's going on here. This is a united effort to fight back African Americans and also poor people and take away their rights. Because why would you, all of a sudden, transgenders, they have a bigger issue than we do? What's happened here in this city to us? And I just don't understand why people are not in an uproar about it. You ought to be, okay? And I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Well, I agree with you. But here's one thing, that the Justice Department is investigating the Flint water crisis. They have people, and they're going through, there's a federal investigation going on. There's about 4 or 5 EPA's attorneys, they are with the EPA crowd, and they are making that investigation. So they haven't came out with any conclusive evidence one way or another yet. So
well, that's my point. She jumped all on that bathroom law, and I just don't understand why all of a sudden that took precedent over what's been going on here with the poisoning of children, 100,000 people.
I don't think,
and not one. There's been no movement, and not to mention the fact that President Obama just now came to Flint and met with Snyder. Okay, and I found that to be odd. But anyway, I'm just saying.
He didn't just
I think
only
we're
meet
getting
with
played.
Snyder.
That's what I think.
okay.
And I think that people need to wake up.
Well, was that North Carolina that filed the lawsuit or South Carolina?
It was North Carolina.
Okay. Well, they filed a lawsuit, and they filed a lawsuit against the United States government. Therefore, they have to respond. The government have to respond. And what Loretta Lynch did as Attorney General was she was duty bound to respond to the lawsuit. So that's how they got involved. They got involved because they had to respond. It's like the people are suing Governor Snyder over the water. They suing him over the Legionnaire's disease. The fact that people were killed, died of Legionnaire disease. There are many lawsuits now in the courts, and the state of Michigan has to respond to every one of them. That's the job of the Attorney General.
Well, Hassan, do you know if anyone has filed a federal lawsuit about the taking of our rights during the election process, where the people that we put in office had no power? I mean, I feel that that's against the Constitution. Has anyone filed a federal lawsuit to go to court on that matter? Was there a lawsuit filed for the Flint Water federal lawsuit? See, that's the problem. I think we don't have anybody active in the court system to take on these matters at the federal level, because the state level, you're not going to get any play with the state level. Then they're just going to bounce you right out like they've been doing. But I just wanted to bring that up to the listening audience today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they have filed some federal lawsuits. Some of them are still going through it. Was that the Sugar Hill law firm?
That was one of them.
Sugar Hill gang. The Sugar law firm. One of them. I always call them the Sugar Hill gang. Caller, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Some airways, Mr. Watchman, listening in. I listen in quite frequently. I think your last listener should listen in a little bit more, too, because there are federal lawsuits pending. So you just have to wait like I'm waiting. And on that note, I continue to catch some airwaves.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Caller, you on the air?
How you doing this morning? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. My condolences to your family. Prayers go out to you and your family.
Thank you.
My thing is, man, well, I got two right quick. One, we do a lot of talking. Y'all put out good information and give out good knowledge for us, but we sit on our hands and don't do nothing but complain. That's why we're in the shape we're in, because y'all been talking about this, different things like this for a long time. We should have been fighting this kind of stuff because we knew it was coming. They've been had this in the plan. We just ain't been doing that. As black folks, we don't come together. We won't get out and fight for our kids. We won't get out and no protest. We won't get out boycott spending our money with these different places. And then we cry about what we don't have because we won't buy. We won't spend our money and buy nothing in the community. Coleman told us a long time ago, and I remember the speech that he said about some of these vacant lots downtown because they're going to be worth something. He told the drug guys and everybody about it. They was making money out there, and we didn't do it. And the other thing, right quick, this new law I don't want no opposite sex just because she feels she a man, so she can come up in the man's bathroom and then sit down and pee like a woman. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want that because I feel if that's the case, I like looking at women. That's what I feel. So can I go up in a woman's bathroom because of what I feel? Because that's what it is with them. They feel they're the opposite sex. Put a unisex in there. You know what I'm saying? Because you have people dressing up like these guys and women and the other, and just to go up in the bathroom, the perverts and stuff. I don't want them in there with my grandkids and stuff like that. You never know what they do. Which enough with the regular freaks we got out here going up in there. Now we got to worry about if they for real or if they a joke. I don't want that. These people, the legislators and all these old political people, is messing this world up, man. Putting all these different laws and talking about two people can get married and all that, man. Come on, man. Y'all know that ain't right. If that's what you want to do in your own privacy home, then that's good for you. But don't inflict that on me, talking about coming up in my bathroom, and because it's going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And they know it is. But they want these. There's a lot of freaks in the politicians. That they hide behind closed doors, but they real freaks, man. That's why they putting these laws out here like that. So thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for making it here. You want me to laugh today, huh? Talking about the freaks. Hey, you know, the state of Michigan school board, they have a state school board. They're taking that issue up on the transgender, sex, and whatever they're doing in the public schools across the state of Michigan. That's more important than the Michigan school district. That's more important than the folks following the law. See, they don't want to say anything, and one reason they don't want to say anything is because Grosse Pointe have black folks living out there now, and they don't like it. Even though white folks joined the Grosse Pointe branch of the NAACP. They don't like it. They don't like the fact. You know, why are they closing down the Detroit public school system? Where the majority black school systems in Chicago and the major cities all across the country. New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., all of them had the same thing. Cleveland. Because they don't want you moving next door to them. You got money. You got a good job. Better than some of them have now. How did you get that? Education. What's so hard? What is it? What's so hard about it? They don't like you Negroes. And they sure don't like you looking next door to them. They don't mind you acting a fool. As long as we can laugh at you, they're happy. They didn't mind you moving on the northwest side of Detroit or the northeast side of Detroit, but they mad as hell about you coming out there in Birmingham. And so Grosse Pointe, I can't call the woman's name right now because I wasn't thinking about calling the name, but we have a state school board member lives in Grosse Pointe. They don't open their mouth. They don't want you there. They looking at the big picture. No education. We don't have to be worried about you. We don't have to be worried about you coming to Lansing trying to change the bills and the laws to make it better for everybody. We're the ones that can't understand and don't compute what's going on. We're the ones. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what education will do for you. That was our motto. That was our mantra in the past. Education. You got to get education. I don't care if you was riding the bus. You didn't have to know the people. Old lady, elderly lady would say, young man, are you going to school? You'd have to say, yes, ma'am. You always had to say, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir, and no, sir. They look at you crazy. They don't know respect today. We need to put that back. But they would tell you, you know, you have to be twice as good as the other fella. You know you have to be twice as good as the other man. And you knew what? You had to go home and say, who's the other fella, Daddy? Oh, you know who they are. Those are white folk. We got to be twice as good. Now, you know that. Oh, I didn't know they were called other fellas and the other man.
Well, we always add to our own demise. I mean, you know, just look at it. Here's Snyder closing down the school, and we still running around here playing the lottery, which supports, supposed to support the school,
Well,
only a portion of it, but we shouldn't even be playing the lottery.
We shouldn't be supporting them any way, no how.
Now ask him, where's the money? Now, if he closing down the schools, we still, at least y'all are, because I've been stopped, playing the lottery, which don't make no sense. Why you can continue, and they never win in Michigan. Talking about Detroit, that's sure enough out. You can count the times that somebody won. So why you continue to support Snyder? It don't make no sense.
None at all. But they owe us $5 billion for those schools, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at them. We had over 300 schools. They're down to about 100. They got rid of 100 schools. They tore down over 100 schools at $40 million to $50 million. That's $5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
So where's the tax money going? They always claim, oh, now we paying the bonds. We got to pay the bonds regardless. We have to pay the bonds regardless. So that's why they tore the school down. They're responsible for that school, not us. And they want to trick us and say that they went and they passed a law and they got rid of the debt they owed us.
No.
They haven't got rid of anything. Because what they said was, if we were listening, we're going to split up into 2 school districts, one with the school board, and all they do is pay down the debt. Well, they haven't relieved us of any money. They haven't given us any money. The $33 million that they say is operating, that's a loan. That's a loan they want to choke us with. When we can get the money, we can get an advance on our money from the state treasurer, Treasurer Eric Sabri. If he don't give us the money, why vote for him?
That's right.
Why vote for somebody? You had a white treasurer that gave the school district an advance on their money, and you mean to tell me here's a black guy that won't do the same thing? Was it against the law? Come on. How's the black guy going to do less than the white guy and we let him stay there? I don't think he wants any controversy. If he does, that's easy pickings, isn't it?
That should be one of the questions to be asked to him.
Why haven't he given Detroit the advance? Why haven't he given the Detroit public schools the advance on their money? And why are the school teachers listening to that big liar, Rose, the judge? When he wasn't a real judge, he's a magistrate. He's a magistrate, and a magistrate is a person appointed by a panel, in his case. So they appointed him, and he's doing what they taught. Why do you think they brought him in as part of the payoff? He's supposed to be down in Puerto Rico, isn't he? So how much time is he devoting to Detroit school? And somebody's getting gypped. The people in Puerto Rico and their bankruptcy or the people here. Well, we know they appoint the people. He knows so much. And basic accounting practices, you have to sign at least 2 people's name on any check. 2 people on these vouchers in procurement. And you may say, no, you don't. Well, come on. You mean to tell me they didn't tell you that? And y'all taking all of these classes on nonprofit organizations and you don't know how the money is supposed to be dispersed? You let one person disperse the money? Wow, you don't have no voucher, no inventory? But you never talked about it. That's what you're trying to say? You took a class at Wayne County Community College on nonprofit, and they didn't discuss any of that. Now, maybe some of these churches and other people that gave you these classes, they didn't discuss it, but we know the colleges do. So then you ought to know, and that's the first thing the emergency managers did when they got in. Got rid of the people writing the checks. Got rid of the accounting or the checks and balance and put it over into the principal's hands. Wow. That's what they did, and you don't want to talk about the emergency manager and what they do. And you don't want to talk about the fact that the emergency manager appointed all of these principals. Yeah, you know it, but you don't want to talk about what that woman, Maserati, the one they called the Maserati Queen, who walked around with a baseball bat, she was appointed to that job by the emergency manager. And you won't call a spade? What's wrong with you? Let's take a few more calls.
That's our problem.
Caller, you on the air.
A follow-up, Hassan. I want to give you and your family spiritual hugs as you deal with the loss of your brother.
Thank you.
Also, quickly, U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch, she is the one in the department, her department threatened to sue North Carolina if they didn't rescind their bathroom law by Monday yesterday. So North Carolina preempted the Attorney General by filing a suit against the United States, and then the United States went ahead and filed the lawsuit they said they were going to file anyway. So now they're in a position where they both have to answer each other's lawsuits. But I just want to say, I will give y'all a bean pie made by the Muslims, Nation of Islam, if the federal government indicts Snyder or anybody for the poisoning of the people in Flint, or for the stealing of our democracy in Detroit and Benton Harbor and stuff like that. The feds aren't going to do nothing, especially under this president. This president is pure symbolism. He is no better than Snyder. He came in with his education secretary, Ernie Duncan, remember?
Right.
And then Ron Emanuel. They're all pro-charter.
Right.
And he is supporting this mess here in Detroit. Connect the dots.
Okay, thank you.
All
Hey,
right.
but you know what? They will indict Snyder if they talk about the money he's stolen. If he's talking about the money he's misappropriated. They will indict Governor Snyder. And somebody's got to look at the money on that pipeline. Follow the money. That's what we have to do, follow the money. You know, this is the fastest hour in television anyway. I don't know where the time goes, but it flies. We don't want to go, but we've got to go. They don't care where we go, but we got to get out of this chair. So until next time, I'm your host, Hassan Ali.
Co-host Scott Williams.
And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.